we are examining Solomon's wealth. We want to know exactly the secret to such an incredible, immeasurable amount of wealth and influence from the once wealthiest man that lived on the face of the earth. Welcome to this channel. I am your friend that will be leading us in this investigation, the Money Teacher. I have 40 episodes I'm going to be running on this series, Solomon's Wealth series. In today's episode, we are looking at the God factor. Now, I'm aware that a lot of people are saying a lot of things about King Solomon. Some are saying because of the record of the 700 legal wives that he married and the 300 that he has for himself, that the man doesn't know God. But the account recorded stated clearly that was not how the man started. Now, by the way, if you are a believer of a different faith outside of the Christian faith, I would like you to follow me because I laid the foundation from the introduction to this episode that we are going to be using the Bible, because that is where the story of this wealthiest king was recorded. And in the introduction, I read the Bible, Romans 15 verse 4, where it is stated that all the things that were documented in the Holy Bible were written for our learning. So the reason why we are going to be studying the life and the wealth of this man from the Bible is so as to be able to see what makes this man wealthy. And I showed us in my introduction. If you've not watched that video, I will be leaving the link to the introduction of this series at the description section of this video, so you go and watch it out. I rounded up by showing us in his writing in Proverbs 13 verse 20, where he said, if you walk with the wise, you will be wise. But if you're a companion of fools, you're going to be destroyed. So we are studying the life of this man to discover what is that thing that made this man to gather such a wealth. It was recorded that during his days that he heaped up gold like the dust of the field. Now today we are looking at the second episode, and we are looking at the God factor in Solomon's life. The God factor. Now, you will agree with me from the things I'm going to be sharing with you that one of the things that make this man wealthy is because of the tithe, the connection that he have with God, his creator. Now, I'm going to be reading the book of Proverbs, which is the book that we are going to be studying in this series. I read from verse 1 to verse 6, the first chapter in my introduction, and then where we finish the sixth verse with this word, where he said, to understand a proverb and the interpretation, the word of the wise and their dark saying. So the book of Proverbs is full of proverbial lessons, and we said these lessons are ageless, and it is good for us to be able to unravel this dark saying. So we are going to be looking at verse 7 to verse 19. We are not going to go into them in detail, but I will just want to show us that one of the secrets to this man's great wealth is because of his connection to the God, his maker. In verse 7, he said, don't forget in verse 6, he talks about to understand that the reason why this book was written, the book of Proverbs, the reason why it is written is so as to be able to understand that saying and its interpretation. So in verse 7, he now said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. But he said, certain persons despise knowledge in the fear of the Lord, and he referred to them as fools. Now, those of you that are familiar with the Bible, you know that Psalms 14 verse 1 said, it is a fool that says in his heart that there is no God. So, to despise knowledge in the fear of the Lord, the person is a fool. And the person that despises the knowledge in the fear of God, the person does not know God. Now in verse 10 of the proverb, chapter 1, verse 10, he said, my son, if sinners entice you, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us look privately for the innocent without a cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find. Now this is the sinners trying to entice the righteous. He said, telling the righteous in verse 13, we shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. He said, when they come to you, enticing you, trying to lure you into things with the promise of getting gain at the end of the day, he said, don't consent, don't follow them. Now, Solomon was such a man that was connected to his God. So before all the mess in his life, before all the rubbish in his life, before his love for extra strange women, the man had his apron tied to God, his maker. Now that was why in chapter 3 of Proverbs and verse 4, he says, so that thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. So this man found favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. And he now said, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. He said, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. So we can safely say that Solomon was a lover of God, For some sacrifice to God, God gave him a choice of either wisdom or wealth or the neck of his enemy. But Solomon went for wisdom, he said, because I am a king over God's people and I want to rule them with justice. So he was a man that was wise, that was intelligent. During his reign, a lot of people traveled from far and wide to come and learn wisdom from him. Now the man was so wealthy, so influential, and then the news about this man spread everywhere. And then even when Jesus came, he acknowledged Solomon, but he only said that a greater than Solomon is here, not in terms of physical substance. He said a greater than Solomon is here. So Solomon had the God factor in his life. He was the one that wrote this proverb, and he said, don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge the Lord, and he said, and he shall direct your path. For you to be able to be successful, just like Solomon was financially, for you to be able to amass such a wealth, there is the God factor. I am aware that there are people that have been enticed by sinners. There are people that have gone into occultism. There are people that have gone into ritual rites and the rest, all in attempt to be able to make money for themselves. Now, this same man Solomon was the one that said to us in Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 20, he said, "He that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent." Now, such a man is a lover of God. He said, if you are in a hurry to be rich, you are not going to be innocent. You are likely going to cut shots in order for you to arrive there. Some have gone into killing, some have gone into robbery, some have gone into all kinds of evil devices that you can think of, all in the quest to get wealth. Now, Solomon, the man that we will be studying in this series, he has this strong connection to the God, his maker. In fact, he was the one that actually said that righteousness exalts a nation, and he said sin is a reproach to any people. So righteousness will actually exalt, but sin will definitely serve as a reproach. Now, for you to be able to get to genuine wealth, just like Solomon, you need the God factor in your life. Now, let me say this thing to you. You don't really need God to succeed. Yes, there are people that are very successful today who don't believe in God, and they are doing very well. Their businesses are doing very well, but you know they are not innocent. Some of them, they have eaten the portion of widows. Some of them are civil servants, and what they do is to take the portions of retirees. Some of them are taking the portion of widows. Some of them are changing figures in their place of work. They don't have integrity. They don't have any. It is this same man, Solomon, that wrote in Proverbs 22 verse 1. Proverbs 22 verse 1. He said, "A good name is better to be desired than riches." So this man is a lover of God. The God factor is what play out in his life. Now, do you have a business you are doing already? Now, I want you to be successful and innocent. I don't want you to put your hand into all kinds of evil devices. I want you to have riches and peace of mind. Don't forget, it is this same man that said to us in his writing that the blessings of the Lord, Proverbs 10 verse 22, he said, "The blessing of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow to it." So why will you agree these lies that this man is a fraudulent man, is a cheat, simply because he is a lover of women? Now, that was at some point in his life, but he did not start it that way. He didn't start that way. He was a lover of God. He had a heart for God. He wants to lead the nation of Israel with a sincere heart. And God saw his heart, and God lavished his blessing upon his life. Even though the times are hard, but if you trust God, there is the God factor that plays out in people's life. There is the God factor. Now there is the place of God. There is the place of the blessings of God. No matter how small what you are doing. Now, the mistake that a lot of people have made is to believe that simply because you are a lover of God, you will automatically become rich. That is why in looking at Solomon's wealth series, I am beginning with the God factor. But there are other things that play out in his life for him to arrive at the place of a wealth and such influence. And I will be dealing with them in every episode in these 40 episodes. So you will do yourself a lot of good by sticking to learn from the things I'm going to be teaching in this series. Thank you very much. If you find pleasure in what I taught today about the God factor, that there is the place of God who specializes. This God specializes in taking anybody from the back and putting him in the front. If you can trust God and then walk with other principles as we are going to be examining in the life of King Solomon, you are going to get to the top. Thank you very much for your time. If you find value in this video, please like this video and share with friends and loved ones. See you in the next edition. Bye.